Creating is so much like science and like research because for a while you're the only person who knows what you've made. There's this specialness of making and knowing and seeing and having that you have by yourself for a little while, and then you sort of like throw it out there and share it with everybody. And that's what I get to do with my art now.
Martina Celerin's unique perspective is the product of a unique path. She was born in the Czech Republic, moved to Canada with her family to flee the Soviets, and came to IU pursuing postdoc opportunities in molecular biology. Eventually, she met her husband and started a family.
And I continued doing the science, but there was something still missing in my life. And so I remember perfectly when I was sitting on the floor drawing, coloring with crayons with boy number 1 and nursing boy number 2. And I said, I really want to get back to my roots as an artist. And my husband had just gotten tenure at IU, and so we had some stability. And he said, let's do it. Let's try it for a year. And I was like, okay, let's try it.
That was 12 years ago. There were questions early on about the perfect medium. Clay was considered, as was pen and ink. But Martina eventually settled on a unique form of fiber art.
I am not a purist. I use fiber art so that it works for me. And so I use a lot of different techniques in my work. The background, the base, is usually woven, and I will do a tabby weave, which is the in, out, and then out, in. I will add sumac weave structure that creates loops in the background. I will crochet off of those to build the dimension. I will also use needle felting to flatten that or to create structures that are independent of the actual background piece. I will use embroidery if I want to stitch something else on. Any fiber technique that seems like the right technique for doing it, that's what I'll use. The subject matter of my pieces tends to be nature. I think that's what I respond to. None of the scenes that I create can you go to on a map. They are just fusions of different places that I've been, different experiences I've had. It's a sort of a perfect world that I create. My work incorporates a lot of found objects. What goes into a piece really depends on what the piece needs. I sort of look at the piece, and sometimes there's a texture on a found object that I just don't feel like I can recreate. And so having like a small pebble or a small rock standing in for a big rock or a boulder is exactly what I feel like the piece needs. One of the things that is important to me in my work is that there is a lot of detail, there is a lot of information, and that really encourages the viewer to do that close-up, far-away inspection of my work. One of the things that I just love using are feathers. My husband and my son love to fish, and so we go to bait shops. I call it my art supply store. And so I pick up a lot of feathers that are usually used for tying fishing lures. Those are often green, and I will incorporate those into the weavings as well. And people go, "Oh my gosh, is that a feather?" Well, yes, it is. Each of my pieces has a whole story behind it. And I really wish in some ways that I could sit and explain to every person that is engaged by a piece what the backstory is, because my pieces take a long time to create, and so I spend a lot of time thinking about the piece, and I often spend a lot of time even before I start thinking through the piece and what I want it to look like. In so many cases, there is a special object that's on the piece or some material that's on there that I would love to, and this is this. Oh my gosh, there's inside this tree, there's this shoelace, and it came from my son, and it was when he was outgrow these, and I washed them, and so each piece has truly a story in it. So many of the stories people will never hear, but I carry them around in my heart. I guess I never see barriers. One of the pieces of advice that my friend Dawn Adams gave me, and she's a painter, she said, just make your best work and put it out there. And if it's good work, it'll sell. That's what I do. I just go into my own heart and I create what I want to create, and I just put it out there. And it's a stage of life that I'm in right now. I'm in a really beautiful stage of life, and I think my art just comes pouring out with that happiness.